Hey guys, so today's video is just going to be a casual Q&A. It's been a long time since I've done one, and I actually meant to film this video back in like November. That's when I originally asked you guys on Instagram if you had any questions, and I feel like the time just got away from me and I didn't get around to filming it, but I had screenshotted all of the questions at the time. So today, like 2 months later, I'm going to actually sit down and answer the questions for you guys in today's video. The first question says, are you going to film more vlogs? I appreciate you guys who watch my vlogs and ask for those videos because, you know, my channel is very beauty focused. So when I upload something that's not beauty related, like a Q&A or a vlog, it typically doesn't do as well, which is fine. But I just feel like sometimes if I can choose which content to upload, I want to upload something that the majority of people want to watch. But I did have fun filming a few vlogs in 2020. I think I uploaded like maybe 3 or 4. I felt like it was something different to do, and it was fun to be able to, like, you know, leave this room and bring my camera with me and chat with you guys about things that aren't specifically beauty related. So I would like to film more vlogs. I don't think it will ever be something that's super regular on my channel just because I don't think I have enough interesting content to film, especially now. I'm just at home the majority of the time. So I'm always, you know, I think about filming a vlog, but I just don't know what I would film, and I don't want to film one just for the sake of it. So maybe once life kind of returns to normal, I might give it another shot, but I do think it's fun. I love to be able to chat with you guys about something other than makeup, and I like watching vlogs. I just think it's really fun to see someone kind of in a different element, a different space. What is your advice for staying positive and mentally sound during this difficult year? What a weird, crazy year it's been. It's so, like, I was thinking about this the other day. It's 2021. I never thought it would last this long or that life would still feel like this. 2020 was just hard in a lot of ways with everything going on in the world. I mean, things going on in our personal life. I'm sure that you guys had personal things going on too. One thing that always helps me is just going outside, and that is a little bit more difficult during the winter. It's like 19 degrees outside right now. It gets dark by 5 o'clock. So I am so looking forward to the spring. I feel like the winter just stretches on forever, but going outside and just like stepping away from my phone or my computer or just like notifications makes such a difference. But that is something that helps me. Other than that, just like making sure that I'm connecting with Brady or my family or my friends, because it can be a very lonely, isolating experience to just be at home. And I know not everyone is at home right now. Some people have to be working outside of the home, but it can be very, very lonely. So I feel like just making an effort to connect with people in whatever way possible does help. What is the best lesson that this crazy year has taught you? Honestly, I think that it's just taught me that I have so much less control over life than I think I do. And I think we've been so conditioned to think that we are in charge of our lives, the directions that they take. And there are aspects that we are in charge of, like our, you know, reactions, our decision making, our responsibilities. But when it comes down to it, there is so much that is out of our control. I mean, maybe you started this year thinking you were financially stable, or you were going to college to get a degree that you knew was going to have high demand, and this year just kind of flipped everything upside down for you. I think it's shown us that anything can happen at any given point in time, and you just kind of have to be flexible and you have to be willing to change and adapt. I mean, that is absolutely easier said than done, but I feel like I used to be the type of person, like even a few years ago, where I had to have control over little things like my schedule or big things. And, you know, I think what I've learned, especially this year, is that I can control the things I can control, like my reaction, my responsibilities, my decision making, and then I just have to let go of the things I can't control. And that has kind of taken like a big weight off of my shoulders when I do actually accept that and live my life in a way that reflects that, rather than feeling like I have so much control over everything that happens in my life. A lot of you guys ask me questions like, what is your career? Do you have another job besides YouTube? What is your daytime job? I've gotten this question for a while, and I've never really talked about the jobs that I've held while I've done YouTube, just for personal reasons like safety, and I guess my channel has just always been very beauty focused, so I haven't really volunteered a ton of personal information like that, but I have had quite a few jobs while I've been on YouTube. So I did work for a health insurance company, which I hated. I hated it so much. I would go home and cry every night because I felt so terrible that I couldn't give people the help that they wanted. So after that, I ended up working for a property management company, which was a really cool job, just to see like the ins and outs of owning property and managing it and working with renters and things like that. I've also worked for an optometrist screening patients, which was a job that I really liked. I've had a couple of other jobs, but right now YouTube is my full-time job. It has been for a while at this point, and I'm really, really thankful for that. YouTube will not be my job forever. I never even planned on this being my full-time job. It just kind of it happened, and I mean, it was a hobby, and then eventually it turned into my full-time job, and I'm so thankful for that. But eventually I'll kind of pivot and maybe move into digital marketing or social media. I kind of have plans for that happening within the next few years, maybe even sooner. But right now it really is the most secure option for me, which is weird. It's not something I ever thought I would say, because I think a lot of people have this belief that YouTube or Instagram or blogging is just not a secure job. And I think that is a fair assumption. I mean, YouTube could go away at any given point in time, but I know that I would be perfectly fine. I've worked other jobs in the past. I feel confident that I can move in a different direction. But for right now, I'm enjoying it. I love it. I work hard at it. I definitely work like 45 to 60 hours every week, just depending on, what kind of content I'm filming, who I'm working with. But it doesn't feel like that because I love it so much. I'd rather work like 80 hours a week doing YouTube than 40 hours a week doing something else that I didn't love as much. And it takes time to film a video, edit it, and come up with content and plan it and answer emails, but I enjoy it. I really do. So I'm really thankful that it can be my job, and it is currently my job. We'll see where the future kind of leads me, but for now, it's something that I really enjoy. The next question kind of goes along with that. What, if any, do you miss of working a more conventional job? I love working from home, and even if I wasn't doing YouTube, I would love to work from home in some aspect. I feel like I focus very well when I'm by myself. I'm very easily distracted. My husband's been working from home for like the past week, and every time he talks to me, I'm like, I love you, but I'm trying to work, and can you like hold that thought, and we'll talk about it in a little while. I just get very distracted. So I can't imagine what it would be like to work with coworkers again, like physically in the same space. At the same time, human interaction is nice, and I've had jobs where I really loved my coworkers and it was fun to see them every day. So I can definitely say that I miss like a certain aspect of that. I don't know. I think what I miss maybe most is just kind of knowing the work that I have to do and then being done with it. So at 5 o'clock when I would like clock out, I'd be done, and then I wouldn't have to think about it until the next day. But with YouTube, I feel like my mind is always spinning. I'm always writing something down. I'm always thinking of a new idea, but at the same time, I love that. It's something that I love. It's so much fun for me. I mean, it is work. Don't get me wrong. It's not all glamorous. Sometimes I'm sitting there editing and there are other things that I would like to be doing, but in the end, I love it and I'm so thankful for it, and I can't complain. What are your hobbies outside of YouTube? So I'll be honest and say I don't have a lot of exciting hobbies outside of YouTube. YouTube is my job, but it's also my hobby. So I feel like whenever I have free time, I love to be able to sit down and try out new makeup and plan videos. But other than that, I love to spend time outside, either with Brady and the pugs or my family. My family lives so close. My sister and her husband and my nieces are right up the road. And then my other sister and her husband are right down the road from her. And then my parents live like 2 minutes away as well. So when life, again, is a little bit more normal, we'll just hang out at each other's houses. We'll have cookouts. We'll just literally sit around and talk. I'm really thankful that my family lives so close and that we actually like each other. I know it's not the case for everyone, and sometimes that's very valid, but we do get along really well. And if it's the fall, we love to go to the pumpkin patch, or if it's the winter, we'll go look at lights. I don't know. We do like very simple things. Life is pretty easy going around here for us. Okay, this question kind of made me laugh a little bit, but I feel like it kind of relates to what I just said. Do you ever feel like you have nothing to talk about, not sure, but you just feel boring? And the reason I wanted to include this one is because I never really get hate comments. I never really even get rude comments. My community on YouTube is so kind and sweet and supportive, and I appreciate that so much. But when I do get like the occasional rude comment, it usually centers around the fact that I'm boring. It used to hurt my feelings until I just kind of learned to embrace it. My life is completely normal, and that's how I like it to be. I mean, there are occasions where I get invited, again, when life is back to what it was, to maybe like a launch party or an event or something really fun. And I've thought about going in the past, but it's just not something that I really want to do with my time a lot of the time. If I have a free weekend, I'd rather spend it with my husband in New York City rather than at like a launch party in New York City. And I don't know, that's just not ever really been something I've been interested in. I think a lot of people think that everyone wants that like influencer lifestyle. And if you're on YouTube, it's because you want to be famous or you want people to like follow your every word. And that's not the case for me. I'm just like a very regular, normal person. I enjoy my more low-key life, and it's just not something I've ever really wanted out of YouTube. I love the fact that I can just sit here and talk to you about makeup, and hopefully I can relate to some of you guys who live a very similar life. So to answer the question, yes, I absolutely feel like I don't have things to talk about sometimes, which is why I don't do a lot of vlogs. I'm not always super active on Instagram stories, but I don't know, I like it that way. I just like to live a little bit more of a low-key, boring life, and I've just learned to accept it. Some of you guys asked me, are you still going to sell your house? You mentioned a while back you wanted to move. Is that still in the plan? So I think maybe like a year or two, I mentioned the fact that they are kind of expanding a really large highway across the street. And to make room for that, they were going to just like knock down a ton of houses. And I live on a very quiet street, which I love. We're really close with our neighbors. And there are maybe like 5 or 6 houses on our street. And we, like across from us is a really pretty creek. And then across from that is a highway. So to make room for that, they would have to knock down our house, which is so crazy. And because of everything going on, it's just kind of been up in the air, which is so frustrating. We can't really get an answer either way. We've thought about moving on a few occasions. Every time like a house pops up that we think we would like to buy, we think about it, but we can't really sell our house right now. If we were to sell our house, we would have to disclose the fact that they are planning on possibly, knocking it down to make room for construction. And I mean, who's going to buy a house if that's the case? I think if we do decide to buy a house within like the next year or two, we will probably buy the house and just rent this one out rather than try to sell it. But yeah, everything's just kind of up in the air right now, and it looks like we'll be here for a little while. Okay, my most asked question every single time I do one of these videos is if we plan on having kids, if we want to start a family, if we want to expand our family. And I know that I've kind of touched on it in some videos in the past, and I feel like my answers have differed because honestly, we've just felt very differently depending on what stage of life that we are currently in. At this point in life, the short answer is yes, but we're not 100% sure how that's going to happen or when that's going to happen. I mean, like I guess I said earlier, 2020 was just terrible for so many reasons. But for us personally, I feel like it was a little bit more difficult than other years because we did get some news that we are dealing with some infertility issues. So I think just trying to navigate that on top of everything else over the past year has just been so rough. I guess I didn't know if it was something I was going to really share on the internet. I mean, you guys know in general, I don't always share a lot of personal things, and part of that is because I feel like I don't always have a lot of things to share, but I think sometimes it's just hard to, I guess, be vulnerable and open up on the internet. It's one thing to talk about makeup, it's another thing to talk about something like infertility, but I think what 2020 has taught me is that it's such an isolating, lonely experience. And I think for me, I've seen people kind of open up about it on YouTube or on Instagram, and it's always been really helpful because for us personally, like there aren't a lot of our friends and family that can relate or have gone through it. So it feels very isolating overall. I think it's more common than we think, and it just affects people in different ways, and the causes are very different, but it's always been something that's been very secretive, and people deal with shame surrounding it. And I know that we've kind of gone through those feelings as well. And I wish it was something that was like talked about more openly, but I can understand why people don't because it's just very overwhelming, and sometimes you just don't want to talk about it. You just want to like put it out of your mind completely. Thankfully, there are different ways to grow your family, and it might depend on your personal situation, but there are fertility treatments. There is, of course, adoption, which is amazing. And we are kind of, figuring out what's best for us right now. And maybe I'll share some more information once we're a little bit farther along. I don't know, like I didn't even think I was going to share this at all, but I guess I still don't know if I'm going to post it, but I just feel like it is such an isolating experience. So if you guys are going through that right now as well, I feel for you. I really do. I think that out of any year, it's probably so tough to have to deal with that like in 2020 or 2021 when you're already feeling very lonely and isolated from everyone anyway. So yeah, that is where we're at. We do want to have them. I'm just not sure how or when exactly it will happen, but I'll keep you updated at some point. I think I would like to share more information like about our journey once we're just a little bit farther along and once it doesn't feel so overwhelming. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about something a little bit more lighthearted. I didn't really even expect that I was going to like kind of tackle that subject right now, but let's talk about some beauty related questions. So one color eyeshadow for life, what would it be? I'd have to go with like a bronze or a warm brown, just something I could throw into my crease. I feel like I'm tempted to say pink or purple, but if it was like the only color I could wear for life, I'd probably stick with a neutral. Best go-to nude lipstick. Right now, I'm really loving the Buxom Lipsticks, specifically the shade Goddess, which has like a hint of pink to it, but as for like a nude lipstick line, I tried Propa Beauty, and they have a ton of gorgeous nudes. It is a Black-owned beauty brand, so they cater to all skin tones, and the formula is very lightweight, very pretty on the lips, so I've really been enjoying those. What is your dream collab? So as far as like a collab with a brand goes, I would say ColourPop or e.l.f. Last year, I actually got to collaborate with ColourPop to do like a curated bundle, so I got to choose my favorite products and put them together in a bundle, and that was just, it was so cool. I know it wasn't like my own collection, but it didn't even matter to me because I love ColourPop so much. So I was really thankful to be able to do that, but I would definitely go with ColourPop or e.l.f. because it would be amazing to be able to create something in a formula that I love for an affordable price. The next question says, I can't leave the house without wearing some form of makeup. Do you? I would say that I feel comfortable leaving the house without makeup, especially now. I mean, when you're throwing on a mask, I feel like it kind of covers up the majority of your face. So the majority of the time, I'm kind of too lazy to put makeup on underneath it because it's just going to kind of wear away. But I do prefer to wear something when I'm leaving the house. I usually throw on like a brow gel and a mascara, and lately I've been loving powder foundation, but I can definitely skip it, especially if it's like the summer and we're just going to the park or we're going on a hike. I won't take the time to apply it because for me, I just feel like I don't necessarily need it, but I love makeup, I do, so usually I do prefer to wear it. What advice would you give to YouTubers just starting out? I would say be consistent. That is so big because when you're just starting out, I mean, it's a hobby, it's new, and you might try it out and be unsure and then come back a few months later and put up another video. Try to stay consistent. If it's just one video a week, try to remain consistent with that and stay consistent with your quality, with how much effort you put into your videos. Also, respond to your subscribers. I see so many people on YouTube that just don't answer their comments. I can understand why some bigger YouTubers don't read their comments because maybe it's not good for their mental health. A lot of people have really hateful comment sections, and I don't have that experience, but for me, like, you guys are the whole reason I have this channel, and I could upload YouTube videos all day, but if I didn't have anyone actually watching and commenting and interacting with me, it wouldn't be the same. So I always make it a big priority to at least spend like an hour answering the comments on my video, and then I'll check back periodically throughout the day, throughout the week, and I try to answer as many as possible. So when you're a new YouTuber, make a habit of doing that because your YouTube channel wouldn't be anything without the people who actually watch it. Do you feel inclined to withdraw support from brands that do crappy things or are not inclusive? I do, and honestly, it's tough. I feel like it's something that I'm always trying to be better at, and it's something that I feel like I've always tried to make a priority on my channel. I think when it comes to, a person and their buying habits, it is totally up to them who they want to support with their money, but because I have a YouTube channel and I reach people with my videos, I want to make sure I'm using the best brands possible. And it's hard, it is. Like, sometimes there is a clear line when it comes to brands, and you know that it is a lousy brand and you shouldn't support it or feature it on your channel. And I have brands that I never talk about, and that is for a very specific reason. But sometimes there are brands that I might consider fine and other people might consider problematic, or brands that I might consider problematic that other people consider fine. Sometimes it's not always as black and white. And the truth is, I mean, brands are run by people, and people are not perfect. They mess up a lot. And I feel like sometimes it's hard to know which brands to completely cut out and which brands to kind of give a second chance to. So, when it comes to inclusivity, I feel like that's pretty obvious. There are brands that make it clear they have no interest in being inclusive. And again, that is something that is really important because people who watch my videos don't all look like me, and I don't want to recommend something that isn't going to work for a lot of people. And I try my very hardest to make sure that I am including inclusive brands, but I can always do better. I can always be better. Where is the first place you plan to vacation when the pandemic is over? Honestly, I just want to spend the weekend in New York City. I miss it so much. It's been a year since we've been there. The last time we were there was Valentine's Day of last year, and it was such a fun trip. We got to see Hamilton. We went to some of our favorite restaurants, so I'm really thankful that we were actually able to be there. And I love to go there. There's just something so relaxing about like sitting in the park on a warm day, just walking around, just hanging out. And I think when Brady and I go, we typically just kind of unplug from our phones. We just like get away from our responsibilities and just hang out and shop and have fun. And I just miss being able to do that. I miss going anywhere, honestly, I do. I think there or like the beach would be amazing. Okay, I think I will cut it off there. My two pugs, well, two of my pugs, Charlie and Kennedy, are at dog daycare today. They go like once a week just to get all of their energy out and just go play with all of the dogs. And it's nice because our house is so quiet. And then our other pug, who's 13, can just relax and sleep all day. And he lives for the day that they are at dog daycare because it's just so quiet. We actually sent him like a few weeks ago and he liked it, but I think it was just too much for him because he's so old and he was just like tired for days. So we just tend to keep him at home with us, but I have to go pick them up, and I think that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I know it was different for my channel. It wasn't just beauty related, and I feel like I shared some things I probably wouldn't normally share, but I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate all of your support. It means so much that you guys watch my videos. I know there are so many channels, so many videos they can watch at any given point in time, and I just appreciate that you guys click on mine and spend any time watching them. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video. Bye.